What's good, everybody? Welcome back to the Stretch It Out podcast.
Woo! Like a siren. Woo!
Oh, yay. So what's cracking?
Welcome back. With open arms.
Welcome back to the Stretch It Out podcast. Never gets old, does it?
No. How could
Episode 22. Yeah, that song never gets boring. So
it really doesn't. I'm not gonna lie. Like I said,
that's a catchy tune.
When I hear it, it's like kind of just sitting here jiggling in my seat, nodding my head with the beat.
That's what I do.
Just rhymed.
Did you?
I did. I can't remember what I said.
We recorded it, so you're good.
Exactly. We're fine. I'm starting my new rapping career, everybody, just so you know.
Today's the day.
It's my gateway into it, so.
So what's good, Audrey? What's good? What's going on? What's been happening?
Well, some amazing news. Actually, hold on. I want to talk about. I feel like this is just like therapy session for Audrey, but
It works for me. Remember what I told you right before we pressed record. Continue.
Yes. You told me that nobody's listening, so it's fine. Well, we recorded last week, right? Anyways, since last week, I woke up one day and I woke up fairly early. I think I was awake before anybody else in the house, and something just kind of like clicked in my head where I was like, you know what? When you wake up, Audrey, I have a journal that my friend Jenna had actually given to me a long time ago. I never really used it for journaling or anything. I used it to like write down notes and stuff. But
right, I've done the same.
Yeah, so I saw it in my drawer, and I was like, you know what I'm gonna do? I was like, I'm just gonna write down, and this is referring to the book The Secret. I'm gonna write down the things that I want, whether it be in life, today, tomorrow, next week, whatever it was. Like whatever came to mind where I was like, I want this right now.
Right.
So I just wrote down in the journal, like it was like 4 things. And of course, like one of them's like, I want to be, it wasn't even I want to be, I was saying I am financially wealthy. And it's like, I
like it.
Physically
Speak
healthy.
It into reality.
You know? So I was just writing down some stuff. And my first one that I actually wrote down, I believe, no, I think it was the second one that I wrote down. But it said that I'm going to find the career that I love, that I am amazing at, and I'm going to enjoy going to work every day, right?
I like it.
I was going to find that career. And so as you guys all know, I've been looking for a job, and I have been putting resumes out there like no other, okay? And I've gotten calls back, but then it's like, it's always kind of stopped at like, well, we need to see what happens with COVID. We want to, after the pandemic. And I'm like, there is not going to be an after. We're stuck with this thing now, you know? So
There will be.
Like, that's when I'm kind of like, okay. And, you know, I was like patiently waiting. And that's why like last week when I was saying like, if anybody knows anyone, because I was starting to lose hope a little bit. But I'm not even lying. Once I wrote down in my journal that day, I came across a company. I don't want to say any names or anything like that. Not quite yet, but I came across a company. I looked it up and I was like, dang, like this is exactly what I wanted to be a part of. I wanted to be a part of something like this and going on. Awesome. So I applied and I like tracked down the CEO and everything and kind of did my research on them, and I was bugging them quite a bit. And I had an interview and it went great.
That's huge.
Right? So I was like, I swear, like, I feel, round of applause, snaps. Can I get some snaps? So I don't peek. But honestly, I felt like it was because I wrote down in that journal, I had it like subconsciously. And after I write it down, I say it out loud to myself. That's all it is. And then at night before I go to bed, I repeat everything I wrote down for that day right before I go to bed and fall asleep. So it's like the first thing I do when I wake up, and it's the last thing I do before going to sleep.
That's pretty cool, Audrey. How long you been doing that for?
Like just curious. 3 days, like 4 hours.
3 days.
You know.
4. No, I'm just curious because I want to try it. I want to try it real quick. I am not in debt. Okay.
Yeah, they got it. I wrote that down. When I said financially wealthy, I said 0 debt. That's what it was.
I was trying to be funny. That was me. No, I think it's awesome. I think it's cool. And I should do that. A good friend of mine has told me the same thing, actually, in the past. And, he does that. He's practiced that, really kind of speaking those things into existence, if you will, or speaking that into a reality. It's pretty cool.
That's exactly it.
I can respect that.
You can't hear me gulp, right? I just took like a big chunk of water.
Nope.
Okay.
Or I didn't hear it.
Listeners, let me know. Secret word, the gulp. Let me know when you hear it.
The gulp. That's two words.
No, you have to hear the gulp.
Words. Oh, okay.
Secret sound. Actually, there's no way.
I don't think we should do secret sounds on our podcast. I think it would get real bad real fast.
Secret sounds. When are the dogs barking?
Yeah, secret sounds with the Stretch It Out podcast. That doesn't sound good. You know what I mean? It sounds good for some of my friends. I'd probably get more listens from some of my friends. Hey, we did an episode on secret sounds. Probably get more people tuning in.
MSR. Is it MSR or ASM or something like that? What is that? I think it's MSR.
Yeah, it's AMSR or ASMR. ASMR.
Yeah, that's what I had before when we didn't know how to adjust. Well, I didn't know how to adjust my mic. You were hearing me gulp.
Neither of us still know how to adjust our mic. So let's ASMR. I think is what it's called, right?
So, anyways, back to what you were saying. Your friend.
Yeah, it's ASMR. Sorry, continue.
Your friend was telling you that you should speak it into existence, right?
Yes, I was just saying I had a friend that did the same thing, and he's mentioned that to me, and he does that. He applies that same logic, and
yeah,
he's successful, in my opinion. He's a really great guy. I guess it depends on what success means to you, but to me, he seems pretty successful dude. So,
I'm not gonna lie, it's helped me get my routine back just from doing, even this morning. Like I said, I've only been doing it for 3 days, but this morning when I woke up very early because my boyfriend, he's out fighting fires and stuff, so I have to go take care of his little puppy Rio.
Shout out to Marcelo.
Yes, saving people's houses, wildlife, everything.
Appreciate you, man. Appreciate all of you out there doing that, fighting fires.
I'll tell you what. Can we give him a shout out?
First responders. Yeah.
These wildland firefighters, because okay, Nick, anybody who grew up in the high desert, Southern California, you know how bad the fires get every year. But before I ever met Marcelo, I never, in the back of my head, it was always something like, oh yeah, the government goes and takes care of it. You don't think of oh no, those are people who have families at home or and they don't just get kid. They don't, these wildland firefighters, I'm telling you, they don't just get rides okay, drop me off in the truck. They have to hike up to these fires where these are remote areas. So can you imagine hiking with ridiculous gear in ridiculous weather where you're dehydrated? You definitely can't run out of water up there,
Yeah, I couldn't do it.
And they have to hold the front line of them literally facing a fire and trying to put the fire out. It's insane. It's
incredible what they do. It really is.
Yeah. When I was a kid, I just thought oh yeah, you just get a garden hose and spray it down, because I never thought about it.
Only it was that easy.
I was just secret sounds. It's just about, learning a new perspective, I should say. Not a different perspective, but a new one. But anyways, going back to what I was saying. So Marcelo's out fighting fire, and I had to wake up early because I need to go feed Rio and stuff because he's used to eating pretty early. And I was so tired this morning, just exhausted. And I almost didn't do my journal. I got up and I started, put my hair up in a ponytail, getting dressed. And I was in such a hurry to be like, oh my God, Rio, I got to get to Rio. I got to get to Rio, that I stood in my room for like 10 seconds and I just had to mentally make my mind chill out and say, Audrey, it's okay that if Rio waits an extra 5 minutes for you to do your journal to set you up for the day. So I
Yeah, you
sat
had
back.
to like tell yourself that that's a rule that you can break.
Yeah, I'm like, he's fine. He's still sleeping. I'm like, it's 6 a.m. in the morning. Actually, it was like 5:30 in the morning where I'm like, he's asleep. He's not starving, because I think
Yeah.
I just got in my head of like, oh, Rio's relying on me to be there. I need to be there. I need to be there. And then it was like, it's okay if I get there at 5:45 instead of 5:40. It'll be okay. It's not the end of the world.
Right.
And I think,
It's not the end of the world.
yeah,
Exactly.
I think people got to remind themselves sometimes, and that's when your priorities come into play of like, well, what's your priority, And I'm happy
We
that I
all
did
do.
stop myself to do that because of my journaling, because I write down like my physical fitness one. I may not be working out early in the mornings like I like to, but it's like I'm still going to the gym at 5 o'clock because I
You're
wrote
getting
that
it
down. I'm
done,
like,
right?
yeah, like it's subconsciously creating like a to-do list for me without knowing
That's
it.
cool. See, I think that's awesome. And we all do that. I think we all have these little rules that we place on ourselves. We just make them quick. They're quick decisions that you're like, I've got to do this.
Yeah.
And I've got to do it by this time. And just for me, like sometimes I'll be working on something and I make up a silly rule like, okay, I really have to go to the bathroom. Like I have to pee really bad, right?
Yeah.
For example. And I'm like, I'm just going to finish this spreadsheet or this report that I'm working on, and then I'm going to go to the bathroom, right?
Like going to the
And then
bathroom
it's
was
like,
your reward to finish that project.
yeah, but then it gets to the point sometimes where I'm like, okay, it's starting to hurt a little bit. It's starting to get a little stingy. I need to really like reevaluate my rules here. And it's funny though, I know it's a stupid example, but I do that all the time and make up really dumb rules for myself. And it's crazy how much added undue stress I can put on myself
Yeah.
over something like that. Or to your point, how much you might set aside we just do it naturally. Like you said, right? We just do it naturally. And that's why it's so important that, that's why I'm always doing the best I can to try to encourage the people in my life that I love and care about to constantly work on correcting your perspective. I need it constantly. And I'm always looking, like seeking, like how to correct it. Like, especially when I notice it, like, man, I'm way off. But that's why you're just supporting my point that I've always continued to make, that we're always going to have to work out that muscle, the corrective perspective muscle, as we like to call it. But it's never just going to be a box you check and you're good all the time. You have to constantly find, you're going to find new ways. You're going to come back to old ways, but always figuring out, how do I correct my perspective? How do I get things back in how do I prioritize things again in a way that makes me the best version of me, which really makes you the most successful version of you, right? So I totally can relate to that. I do it all the time. I just did it, probably 5 minutes ago. Who knows? I'm making up all these weird rules. I wrote a blog a while back about that, just about how a lot of us just need to get better at reevaluating our rules every day and being able to recognize the ones we can break, such as the one you just gave.
I'm not gonna lie.
Is that a rule I can break today? I need to break that rule.
It's hard to even see it though, because
it is hard.
So before you even say, like when you said that, a light bulb went off in my head where I'm like, oh my God, I do that. Because I know, like, even before, when I was working, I would literally starve myself to the point of like my hands shaking, because it was like, I don't want to get up and walk away. I'm going to be distracted. I'm going to lose focus. But it was like, actually I was harming myself, because I'm like, okay, it's 4:00 in the afternoon. I haven't eaten anything all day. I'm literally depriving my body of nutrients.
Which is not good, right?
Yeah,
exactly. That's not good.
It's like I'm starving myself, and then I stuff my face at 4:00, and I'm like, oh, this is the first thing I've eaten all day. Like, that's not That's not
Yeah, I've done that.
healthy.
I still do that, and it's not good.
Yeah.
And we do that. We do that with everything. It's like almost like we want to save up what's good for when we're
Yeah.
done with what we're doing. And it's what's interesting is, I truly think that we're supposed to be able to have and experience joy while we're doing the things that we're in our mind saying we have to complete before we can experience the joy. It's like we've got it backwards, right?
Yeah,
We don't.
exactly.
It's
You
okay
gotta
to
flip
step
it.
away and do something. Yeah, it's okay to do that right now. But for whatever reason, we've got these weird rules, and it's just easier, I think, for us to understand when we just go, okay, my lunch hour is noon to 1. Like that's when I have my lunch, so that's when I need to be doing. And sometimes you just lump everything into that hour, right? You're
Yeah.
like, okay, well, I'll just. And so along with that, sometimes is something as simple as going to the restroom. But,
Yeah.
or to your point, like I'm starving, I should probably eat something, but I told myself I'd get done with this first and then I'll go eat.
And of course, like it always leads to something else of, oh, hey, we have a quick meeting that just popped up on your calendar. And I'm like, oh my God, okay, now it's 5
Yeah. And
o'clock.
who's not the best version of themselves in that meeting, right?
Yeah. I'm over here like shaking. And then that's when you start like trying to eat anything that's in sight, and that's obviously like not a healthy choice probably. And it's like, okay.
And all of that stemmed from that rule you made up for yourself,
Yes.
right? Like really how, like you got to be able to look back and reassess that and go, was that rule something I should have followed? Because it didn't really pay me back like I thought it would.
Exactly. Like it went into a snowball effect, of
It always does. I know.
Let's say you are someone who's trying to lose weight in something. It's like that's the worst possible way you can ever do that. And it's like just because you put that one little rule in your head of like, oh, I'll eat later. Like, don't put it off. Just freaking eat.
I do it too. What does that be? What would that be called? Like misprioritize? I misprioritize those things often and throughout my day. And then I'm angry at somebody that I'm working with. Not really. I don't ever really get angry with people I work with, but I'm frustrated about something. And I'm frustrated about something because I got this massive hanger headache, and I can't blame anybody else but me and my own stupid rule that I decided I couldn't break, right? I didn't want to break that rule 3.5 hours ago and my body said I was starving and I needed energy and I needed food. So here I am, 5 o'clock, haven't eaten a thing. And the rest of the world gets to deal with this version of Nick.
Yeah.
Not fair.
So now think of it, like I think of everything, now that's on a smaller scale. That was because of one tiny, simple rule of you just being like, hey, I'm just going to take an hour, for lunch. One rule, that one tiny rule rolled up into such a big cluster, of.
Yeah.
It's not the word I want to say. What's the word I want to say, Nick? Let's find a better word for what I want to say.
Debacle? I don't know. That's what came to mind. I don't know if that makes sense, but.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. But that tiny rule created that whole issue. So imagine if maybe a slightly larger rule, what could that kind of tarnish and ruin your day or week?
Yeah. It's always, you always go, every big problem was a small problem that wasn't addressed, right? It started as a small problem. And that's where it starts for me. A lot of times it's that rule that I have in my head that I do it all the time too, with like, just when you plan something, right? Like for example, if I tell myself on Friday night, I'm going to sleep in tomorrow morning, right?
Right.
Like all of the sudden in my mind, that's a rule now. Like I'm like, I have to sleep in. And if something interrupts that, like work or something, now I'm angry. Why am I angry? Well, because you didn't follow my rule, right? Yeah. I set a rule last night that I was going to sleep in and I got a work phone call and right. It's stupid. It doesn't make any sense. Like I struggle with that all the time. I'm always having to remind myself, like, where can I place rules that are like healthy for me? And where can I remove rules that are unhealthy for me?
Yeah.
Hard to do, like you said. Yeah.
But it's hard to pinpoint those rules. Like for me, okay, mine was like, I've definitely done the whole like going to the bathroom. I've done the one of, eating, but it's like, how do we self-discover those silly rules in our
For me, it's
day-to-day.
easy because it shows up as stress and anxiety. So when I start getting stressed and I start getting overwhelmed with work, then it's easier for me to go, wait a second. I made up some rule somewhere, right? And maybe it is that I wanted to have every loose end tied up before I got off work today. Well, in my work, like what I do for a living, that's impossible.
Never ending.
I don't get to have, So then my point is, if I choose to continue to follow that rule, I'm going to continue to be owned by the anxiety and stress that comes with that. Whereas if I can say, well, that's a rule I need to break. I need to figure out how to break that. And that needs to not be a rule that's ruling over me going forward. I need to get rid of it entirely. And I'm saying this like with confidence probably, but you need to know that that's what I'm working through right now. Cause I really am struggling with that because I'm feeling a little overwhelmed with all of the loose ends and all of the unknowns and all of the what ifs. Right. And when I look at it for what it is, why am I overwhelmed? Well, because I can't tie those loose ends off right now. I can't finish right now. Well, then I need to let go of that rule, right? I need to let go of that. I need to just go, well, that's just something that's just not going to happen. I can't control that. And then I can hopefully follow some other rules that are more healthy for me. Like you said, right? Yes, the rule of journaling, that is important enough for you that you can move some other things around to make sure that happens, right? But if you put the rule of taking care of the dog at a certain time ahead of your, hey, I need to journal, then you're misprioritizing. Yeah. In my opinion.
I mean, now if it was 11 a.m. in the morning, then I'd be like, yeah, we need to be But in that situation, I had to put the journaling first. It's so crazy.
Yeah, you're like, if I could see the dog's rib cage, yes, I should probably feed him. But
going on.
Yeah, but I don't think you'd let it ever get to that point, right?
Real couldn't. He would eat somebody before that. But when you were just like, I'm a very animated person. So a lot of times when people describe a situation or something, like kind of, just animations come into my head. And so I feel like this is the picture that I have in my mind of everything that you were just talking about, was that like there's a person with like chain to one of those like 100-ton balls, right? Like those big, I don't know what they're called, like a chain and ball.
The ball and chain?
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, big old ball and chain, prisoners, ball and chain.
And it's like the person is like trying to just like get over to the key, and they can like see it, and they're reaching, and they're on the floor, and they're stretching for it. Stretch it out podcast. Stretching for it. And little did they know the whole time that their foot could just like slip through like the actual chain. Like you never needed that key. So it's like the key was your to-do list, was the rule that you set. Like, oh, I need that key in order to get out of this. But really,
then you didn't need it. Yes.
You don't need the key. You can just slip your foot right out.
Exactly.
Or you were so focused on the key, you're not looking at the chain. You're not looking at the real problem.
That's a great example. And we all do that, right? We put the blinders on. I do. And I put the blinders on because it's natural to put the blinders on. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's sad because I struggle with that.
It's an everyday thing.
I mean, I struggle with many things, but that is one that I definitely have been struggling with lately. So, it happens.
I think a lot of people do. I think a lot of people are, still unemployed, and they're in the same situation as me of they're searching for other work, but gotta wait till the pandemic's over.
Well, you just got to keep just rolling with the punches, roll with the punches and do things, even though maybe you can't do the work that you want to do, you can't, it's tough. There's a lot of unknowns. Do the best you can to do the things that are going to help you have the best perspective on what's going on. Right. Like for you, Audrey, I know, like when you start to feel like you're up against too much of the unknowns and fear's voice is starting to get a little louder. I know that you're like, okay, I got to go to the gym. I got to clear my head. I got to go sweat this out or whatever. Right. It's important that, we have those things, that we can turn to those things. Right. And it requires work. There's work in that decision for you, right? Because I don't feel a lot of times if I'm in that position where I'm feeling overwhelmed, stressed out, anxious, I'm not like, for me, okay, this is just me, may just be me, but I'm not super jacked about going to the gym or working out, right? That's not what pops up into my head. But if I take a moment to step back and go, do I have the right perspective, which I'm getting better at, finding myself there at that fork in the road instead of just with the blinders on, right? Step back and I can go, what's the right perspective to have? Why am I lacking, let's call it, the ability to correct my perspective in this moment? And usually I'll land at, I need to do something for me. Maybe I need to work out. I need to go for a jog or whatever, right? Or something as simple as I need to play with my RC cars, right? Shameless plug. It's been a few episodes since we talked about RC. Or, hey, you know what? I really need to, hang out with my friends, make an effort to do that. Or maybe I need to check in with, there's just different things that we all have to, that we all have available to us that we can do to help keep our our perspective in check.
Yeah.
But it is work. There's that decision, right? That you have to be able to stop and go, okay, what do I need to do to fix this? It's not as easy as we all want it to be, where it's just a button we can press.
Yeah. And the answer doesn't just pop into your head. Like you have to, what's that one?
Unless you have an RC car. Because that is kind of like pushing a button. Because when you pull the trigger, it does tend to, sorry.
All of your stress reliefs. Mm-hmm. It's, but no, there's like a saying where there's two wolves inside of you. There's the good wolf and the bad wolf or something like that. And they always fight with one another. So it's like, you're fighting with yourself in your mind. And to me, that's like one of the most difficult things to acknowledge. Yeah. Is when, like I said, when I stood in my room for 10 minutes, for like 10 seconds in my head, I was like, one side was like, you need to hurry up and you need to go feed Rio. And then the other half was like, Audrey, just chill out, sit down. It was like that little thing, you got the devil and the angel, on your shoulders.
Yes.
It's literally what I had, just standing in my room. And this was just over me journaling. So crazy. Where I was like, Audrey, it's fine. You have time to do your journal. I was like, just sit down and do it. It takes 5 minutes to do. You're fine.
It's crazy. I was just, while you were talking, I was listening, pay attention to what you were saying, but I was also Googling because I remember reading in a book this quote from Seneca. And he says, we suffer more often in imagination than in reality. Mm-hmm. So true, isn't it? And this is from, I don't know, 1,000-something years ago or more, but that's crazy how, it's been going on for that long. Like we all struggle with that, I think, Yeah.
Like this is nothing new. It's to us.
It's not. Yeah. But it's always going to be there. Right. And that's why I love, doing what I can to help there. I like learning more about myself in that arena too. Like, I'm not as tough a nut to crack as I've always thought. Like it's not as complicated as I've always thought. It's just putting in the effort to make those corrections, if you will, to the perspective that's helped me. And it's continuing to help me. So
and I'm sure
it ain't easy being cheesy.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, Joe. I forgot what I was about to say just now.
It's because my jokes are so funny.
It caught me off
guard. I'm gonna put a laugh track on here, and I'm just have buttons and stuff. Like eventually they'll have it set up to where it'll be really easy to do all that stuff, and I'm just gonna be like, and then nobody will listen for real.
I want to do it when when the music goes off, and then it's like people clapping, cheering. If it's something we don't like, it's like boo.
Yeah, I want to pump in some laughter and stuff. I'll need to figure that out.
You're like, yeah, I let fear get the best of me. Boo.
It's not a bad idea. We'll get sounds added. I'll work on that. Homework assignment.
But I mean, I told you about my week, right? Did you sum up your week with kind of piggybacking off on to what I was saying then, or you got anything else?
My week's been great.
Ah.
So my
Like
week's been great.
Listeners, the amazing news that I shared with you. I said that really weird. Shared? And I shared with you. Guys, I don't know why. Before Nick and I got on this episode, I was doing jumping jacks because I was just trying to get my blood flowing. And I kept telling Nick, I'm like, I am so tired right now. And it's only, we got on this at like 2:45. And I kept telling him, like, I am so tired. I don't know why. But I think it's the Vegas heat that got to me. This is the first time.
That'll do it to you.
But now I'm like trying really hard, or I was trying really hard not to fall asleep. So if I'm slurring my words, I'm not intoxicated. I'm just tired.
It is all good. It is all good here in Podcastland. What was the good news? I thought that's the good news that you shared with everybody at the beginning of the podcast. There was other good news?
Yeah, the other good news of like MFB gets to meet Jenna.
Oh, I forgot all about that. I need to get that day off. Yeah, because we need to announce that because the people that do listen, that we love, and they laugh when we talk about how we don't have listeners because they know that we're just joking because we know that is our listen. Those are our listeners. So we love y'all, MFB crew. Yeah, let's talk about that. So it's going to be August. What was it? 7th?
7th, yes.
August 7th. It's a Friday. I got to get the day off. So I got to figure out if I can make that happen, which I don't think will be a problem, but
he's going to make it happen, folks. He's going to put it in his journal and it's going to happen.
So we're going to take that day off. And then what happens on August 7th?
So, as many listeners absolutely loved and adored, Miss Jenna. She is the one who lives in New York City.
Gaines with G.
Yes, Gaines with G. She is, so all of her stuff here is still in Vegas, like her bed and furniture and, kitchenware stuff, things like that are still here in Las Vegas. And we thought, hey, it would be the best time to do a cross-country road trip. It's going to be me, her, and her cousin Brianna. And her cousin Brianna, shout out to her because she is in our military services and she's a badass.
Thanks, Brianna. You are awesome. Thank you for your service. Thank you to all of the military, all of you out there, active or not, appreciate it. You got to take a minute to appreciate them whenever they get brought up. For me, it's important to me. I can't talk too much about it because I get emotional because I'm like that appreciative. So.
Well, that's what I was like telling Jenna. I'm like, okay, everybody in Texas is gonna love Brianna, and then she was just like, "Why?" And I'm like, "Cause she's in the military. Have you been to Texas?" But we are
awesome. So wait a second. So you're telling me there's going to be 3 of you trying to fit into my ginormous house?
Yes.
Okay. So when I first I thought it was just going to be you and Jenna. I think it's awesome that that Brianna's coming too. But I was thinking to myself, yeah, no big deal because it's just one air mattress. Now you guys might have to have one air mattress in the living room and then probably, I don't know, like Emma's room or something, or Noah's room maybe.
Like we're planning it out on the episode. No, kids gotta get their rooms. We're just going to sleep on the couch.
Are you sure? Because have you seen my couches?
Yeah.
They don't. Okay. Are they? Yeah. To sleep on?
They recline, yeah. I fell asleep on those many times.
I mean, I fell asleep on them, but I don't think you'd wake up feeling fresh in the morning. Your back's going to be all jacked up.
It's one night. We're going to be fine. Right. And we're also...
I'm just saying. If we had to take a poll right now with MFB, I think air mattress would probably be better for everybody. Because I've got 2 air mattresses. Or I think I do, yeah.
Well, then blow up the 2 air mattresses.
Even if I don't, someone else on MFB has air mattresses, right? We're good.
Each of us will just stay the night at someone else's house. Someone go to
there you go. You guys just all spread out. I love it.
Okay, someone goes to Chris's. We're gonna be fine. It's gonna be
That'll work. I'm good with that.
So yes,
that'll be fun.
I know.
What did you want to do? What did you want to do when you're here? Because I know that's why you brought it up, because you wanted to make sure everybody that's listening knows what you want to do when we come out.
Oh yes, everybody. Since it is a Friday that we will be there. I'm trying to figure out we have to figure out the timeline because I think we're going to stay there Friday night, I believe, and then leave early Saturday morning.
And it's going to be hot Friday night.
It's going to be hot?
I'm assuming it's August in Houston.
That's fine. I like the humidity better than the dry heat.
Hot
James has a pool.
He does.
I'm putting you on the spot, James. Putting you out there. He's got a pool. But what I want us to do is do like one of your guys' Southern cookouts because every time I have gone, no label.
Why is it called a Southern cookout? We just call it cookout. We don't even call it a cookout. We just call it putting the barbecue in the driveway.
Okay. Well, they're over the.
But why is it Southern? What makes it Southern? Oh, the crawfish. Now, yeah. If you want, yeah, that's always been James. James has always led that charge on the crawfish deal. I have no clue like how he does any of that stuff, and it's really expensive. But if you want to just come out and we can like cook and grill some like burgers and stuff, we can do that.
We can do that, or I'll chip in for the crawfish thing. Anyways, I'm saying
I don't even know if they'll be in season. We got to figure that out too. James will know.
Season thing?
I'm sure that they are. I'm sure. I don't know. I'm not like I'm not an official Texan yet. They say it's like 10 years, I think. So
not even close yet. James, you get back to me on this, okay? Well, that's what I wanted to do.
You're going to get a message from him in 2035 when he goes, "Hey, I was finally listening to that episode." And
it's like, actually, it was just like the third episode. I randomly clicked on one. I don't even.
I'm just kidding.
Even do that stuff.
I'm totally kidding.
But we are super excited because as we were putting this together and because I have such amazing friends in the previous company that I worked for, so in our head, I was thinking like, okay, I got points for my airline for Delta so I can fly back home super cheap, right?
Right.
I have points for
the
all
cheapness.
Of my hotel. I have tons of points. So I was like, cool, we can use my points for the hotels. We don't have to pay anything except for tax. But then I started thinking, so we started laying out our map. And our map is we are going to Denver first, then Austin, then Katy. Then we're going to go to New Orleans, Nashville, Charlotte, DC, and then New York. And
you're going to start a YouTube channel and you're going to document the whole thing and it's going to be epic.
God. We'll see. Lots of photos. I'll send photos.
I'm just kidding. Yeah, take pictures. Put them on the Insta. What
ended up being like awesome about this was that we have so many friends across the country between all three of us that the first one is Cody. He's in Denver and he's like, yeah, no, you guys aren't staying at a hotel. He's like, you guys are going to crash at my place. And then Austin.
Way to go, Cody.
Yeah, shout out to Cody. I love him. And then my friend Johan, he just moved to Austin. He's like, no, you guys are crashing at my place. And then we're crashing at your place, Nick. And then Jenna and Brianna, they have a cousin that's in Nashville. So we're going to stay the night there. So literally, we're only spending one night in a hotel. And I think that is so awesome.
Pretty cool.
Especially during COVID, you know?
Yeah. Pretty cool. Yeah, it's pretty cool. You guys are going to have fun. So, especially when you stop in MFB.
That was my second big news, guys. A lot's going on this week.
You got a lot of good stuff. A lot of good stuff. So a lot of good. So you got a lot of what's good going on.
MFB, get ready.
So
because y'all
MFB's ready.
And
we always do that, and then you come out and we don't do anything. So
I will go and knock on every single one of your guys' doors.
You heard it. You heard it from her.
With a cowbell.
From her, folks. It's going down on August 7th. So prepare yourselves. So, yeah, I'm good. I didn't think I had anything else. You remember Chuck? Good friend of mine. I've brought him up before on previous episodes.
Yes, of course.
He did a really cool thing, shared like a really funny video with me. It's freaking awesome. And it was hilarious. So can't wait to share it with the MFB crowd. I'll text it to you or something, like the link to it, because it's freaking funny. So anyways, it's a really funny. Yeah. I don't want to give it away, but it's like him doing the voice of like this dog, and it's freaking hilarious. So
should we put that up on the podcast? or on the stretch
We
it
could,
out
but it's not PG. It's not PG-13.
Okay, we won't.
I mean, it's not terrible, but it is hilarious.
We can send it via request.
It is so funny. Well, I'm going to share it with all our listeners, all the folks.
Well, yeah, but we got listeners in Ireland, so if they want to know,
we do.
DM us, Instagram,
shoot us a message,
Facebook, whatever it is. Nick will get back to you on Facebook. I'll do Instagram.
Yep. Actually, she does all the social media. She just doesn't know it yet. But all right. Well, Dad says he's going to be catching up on the podcast. So shout out to you, Dad. Love you, Dad. Thanks for listening. Whenever you get a chance. He's a busy man. So busy man. Thanks to the MFB crew, the whole MFB crew. You guys are always awesome. So just shout out for being awesome. And that's it. I think I'm good.
Yeah. That's all I shout out to, like I said, the wildland firefighters.
Yes. Shout out to y'all. Be safe. Shout out to the families too. The families.
And people
sacrificing
starting fires. Don't do a campfire if it says no campfires.
Yeah, please. Right? What's the bear's name? Smokey the Bear.
Smokey
Only you
the
can
Bear.
do that. Come on. All right. Anyways. All right, I'm good. Love you, baby sis. And
love you.
Appreciate y'all for listening. Yep. Thanks. Love all our listeners. Talk to y'all. See most of you guys on Call of Duty later. So
Guys, have fun with that.